2, 1. Holiday BeagleCast episode recap 2024. What's going on in 2025? Who knows?
A lot.
A whole lot.
No one knows.
No, we don't know.
So,
but we know it's a lot.
Eventful year. What's been going on? We there's been a lot of things going on. A lot of things still in the pipeline. BeagleYI was the big new board launch this year. Every other board's chugging along.
The year of AI.
Do we want to start? Yeah, it's the year of AI. So let's talk about that. Where's BeagleY at?
Robert, you said mainline support.
Yep, there's mainline support. I think Andrew Davis was just pushing the remote proc updates. So I think in 6.14 we'll probably have remote proc, but yeah, 6.13 should be bootable. No display yet, no PCIe, but the board boots. And the Wi-Fi driver hasn't been pushed mainline yet to CC33X. So no, the YAY is in pretty good shape on mainline for out of the box.
Yep, and DSS support I've confirmed is a priority for mainline and TI Q1 next year.
Yeah, someone retired from TI, so it's going to it's taking a bit for someone to jump in the new role.
I'm excited about all this stuff that's been going on around the R5. The R5s, right? There's 3 R5 subsystems in BeagleY. And it seems like a lot of people have kind of taken off doing development with the R5s on BeagleY. I think there's also been some fun activity in people getting C7 code, right? There's some C7 projects out there beyond just the TI Edge AI code, right? So we've seen a number of people on the forum show up and that are working actively on getting examples on loading C7 code and programming on the C7. So like lots of cool stuff there. Lots of just simple things like going on and like using headers and, using expansion things, right? Using, UARTs and PWMs and all the things that you can do over the headers. There's the awesome pinout site and docs growing all the time. But yeah, the community is really building up around the BeagleY AI, and that's exciting for me to see, is all this stuff going on in the forums. And the Discord, which is now over 2,000 people, right? So when did we start Discord?
That was maybe fall last year.
Yeah, it grew fast. It's big. I'm
glad. I know you're still a skeptic.
I hate Discord. No, I'm not a skeptic. I hate it. Like that. There's a difference between being like I don't know how I feel or I don't know. Right? No, I absolutely hate it. But it has critical mass. So woo!
It's like the honey buns of software or something, where it's like, we all know it's bad for us, but we still eat it every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Until the next thing comes. I think it's a generation thing. So in 10 years, we'll probably switch to something else. We've gone from IRC to Slack.
I think I will say every single.
That's been my big complaint of like doing upstream contributions. I feel like the code itself isn't that bad. It's setting up a text mailer and then following that template. That's the really annoying part.
Well, now you're supposed to use W4 or is it M4? So
yeah, there's some. Did we get that as a? We did get that as like in our docs, didn't we? The instructions on using W4. Did we? Was that not a docs entry?
I don't think I've seen it, but I'd like to see it.
No, but I've seen a lot of upstream committer or maintainers push back and say, "Hey, please set up W4." So it's more of a requirement that's starting to come down.
It just make your life easier. So, it's a little bit of a little bit of a learning. But if you have to learn how to do it right anyway, might as well just use something that's going to guide you down that path. So.
And along the lines of BeagleY, I was going to say my favorite thing has been playing around with all the accessories, especially all the PCIe hats. That's the C Dual M.2 hat, which has that PCIe bridge, which is fun, so you can do multiple devices. And for the most part, everything just kind of works, which is great. So I've done 2.5 gig and NVMe on one board. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, the throughput's kind of there. And then there's Pinout that I've only recently started re-updating again because I haven't had a chance to touch in a while. But that's also holiday updated, so it's got the Beagle Elf now.
Yeah, it's holiday updated. I gotta check this out.
No, it's just the logo icon.
Oh, I love it. Shoot more.
And yeah, we're gonna update that in the coming weeks. That's gonna be my Christmas plans for side stuff.
Yeah, I'm
surprised how many people use it though. So I'm glad people are. It looks like nothing was horribly broken about it, so people have been able to use it for actually figuring out device tree changes, things like that.
I reference it all the time, honestly. Like because I Beagle Y has become my kind of go-to in kind of day-to-day automation targeting things, right? So I guess if you eat a little bit of eating your own dog food, right? But like I've used it in testing other boards. It's nice to have some extra USB ports, right? So doing some things where I need different audio things to audio exercise, right? I want some controlled environment for audio. So I've been doing some things that way, and just like some really tightly timed GPIOs for events. So it's been kind of trivial, easy, for me to do stuff with. So it's kind of become my go-to.
It's honestly fun, especially when things work out of the box.
Lots of stuff going on with the imager, right? I know that people might be a little disappointed in seeing the progress specifically around my work with the fork of the RPi imager. But there's a lot of work going on from the native from scratch implementation in Rust. A lot of new features in the Rust version of the imager. So at this point, I think killing the fork might be the best thing to do, and just focus our energy back on the grounds up version, because it's looking nice. I don't know how much you've used it. If you used the Rust version now.
I've only used it once, like 3 weeks ago, I want to say, but yes, it's nice. It's performant.
Yep. I think there's a little bit to do in terms of like getting the on-stream distro, the web-based distro loading, and getting kind of the metadata set up there, right? But the fact that it's got some extra flashing utilities, right? So you can program the CC1352, and there's work on getting the MSP 430 on there as well, right? Well, is it 430, right? The
430 would be on Freedom, and then the M0 would be on
Pocket Beagle. Yeah. So I don't know that he's worked on the M0 yet, but I think that's going to come really quick, right? So
the M0 is going to be easy. I can help him with that. I don't know Rust, but I can try to talk to him about it. The process itself is simple.
Yeah. So I like having it unified. I think we need to I think focusing the effort there, making sure the command line stuff works nicely as well. Starting to ship that in the software images as well would be cool.
And we can just rename it to Uniflash, right?
Oh, I don't think anybody's going to get that.
No, TI has a software tool called Uniflash that, various opinions on it. But it's the joke of, you create the one thing.
Yeah.
No, but it's great. It's going to be great once it's up, yeah.
Yeah, well, you can easily get it today, and I think we'll push it out a little more into again the main use as soon as just a couple more features are done. Mainly the fetching the online distro, aligning the metadata, right? So, like we may move away from real compatibility with the RPI metadata,
Yeah,
which I
is
don't think
fine.
buys. Yeah, I don't think buys us a lot anyway. So.
Yeah. And then I guess that's a lot of BeagleY. Beagle Play still very much alive and well. Actually, news from mine, it finally went down after a year and a half of running. And the only reason is because I was moving around my like home networking switches stuff because I updated to 10 gig. And I unplugged the Play for a little bit, and I realized, oh, all my home automation stuff went down, like all my Matter stuff went down. I forgot it was actually running as the controller still, even though I migrated most stuff to a dedicated server. And so plugged it back in, back up, but it did reset my counter, unfortunately.
I haven't looked at how big the biggest counter we have, because we started that forum thread when we talked about it here, and I saw people did contribute some rather long uptimes to it. So I'm gonna have to search for that.
I feel like I need some of those, like, I need a battery backup for it, and just make sure just for the counter.
The average of the people that returned it back was 350 days.
Hey, Anderson and Santander,
festive
looks like
too.
full dress. Look at that.
It's like someone planned ahead.
He's bringing gifts of Zephyr.
That's right.
Yeah. So the AI64, has that landed upstream now?
Yep.
Did
AI
that in Zephyr?
Okay. Sorry, I was messing with my audio. Was that question directed to me?
Yeah, Andrew. I think I was because I think your patches for AI64 in Zephyr have actually
They
landed
are
upstream now.
Yes.
So-
And then it moved right on to the BeagleY, which is now also just sitting there. But yeah, so we got AI64, a couple of the R5 cores. I've still got patches, going to send at some point for all of the rest of the cores, because I think there's like 6 R5 cores. So you're going to get a lot of Zephyr out of that. So we're ready for that.
Awesome. And the Beagle
Play
Play
chat
stuff
as well. Happy holidays. Sorry, I'm covering chat.
Oh.
So the Beagle Play stuff, I think, has already landed upstream, but not all of it, right? So I think the M4 stuff might. I don't think the M4 stuff is mainline Zephyr yet, but the CC1352 M4 is, right. So the CC1352 is there. So lots and lots of mainline support for Zephyr, right? I think there's now 4 boards inside the Zephyr mainline, 4 Beagles in the Zephyr mainline. So the Beagle Connect Freedom, Beagle Play, the AI64, and the Beagle 5 Fire, right? All have mainline Zephyr support. And for the Fire, it's both the U54 cores and the E51. I don't know, whatever it is, the boot core.
So what point can we have an all Zephyr build from the R5, the M4, the A53s, the DSPs?
For BeagleY AI? Yeah.
Any of the boards, a full Zephyr build.
It's already there for Fire, for Beagle 5 Fire. You already have an all Zephyr, right? On
do we not also have an A53 target?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
so,
but it can be there for Beagle Play, right? It can be there for Beagle Play, but it's not. We haven't yet pushed it. We've got patches for the A53s. That's also a really nice Zephyr target that you're holding in your hand there.
I mean, part of the question is, does Zephyr has remote proc to load the firmware onto other Zephyr devices?
That is Actually in the works, yes.
Okay.
So,
So, yeah, I mean, someday, yeah, I'm looking forward to the day we have a full Zephyr build. So no Linux, no other OSs, Zephyr on every core, Zephyr load everything. Just to, you know, you have a situation where you have 5 different architectures all on one
But
board.
play would probably be there. Could be there before BeagleYAI.
Yeah.
And that board would also could probably be there because C7 I think is going to be the long pole.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if the LVM patches are public at all for C7. If that's that's something we'd like to see.
public, no, but they are, yeah. Since the TI compilers, yeah, based LLVM and Clang and whatever, it isn't actually too terribly difficult to plug that in, but it wouldn't probably be good to land that, or possible to even to land that over in the Zephyr toolchain SDK, which would then be a blocker for upstream Zephyr support. So
this Zephyr toolchain, is it GCC or Clang based?
I think it depends on the architecture. They've got a little of both.
They've got both in their SDK.
Yeah, they allow whatever you need to build, they'll put in their SDK. Their SDK is pretty fluid.
So, in the interest of keeping things on track here, so what else happened in 2024? We're talking GSOC project. We're talking, we talked about the whole pinout thing. So Zephyr's
been such a big thing,
yeah. Zephyr was a big part of the GSOC too, right?
Yeah. We had a GSOC project, wrote I2C driver for Zephyr, and it's actually been posted upstream too. So not taken yet, but that's
a lot of the work on the AI64, right, got done over the GSOC. So Drew Manon was the student on that, and did some great work, right?
And do you want to do a call out for next year, because we are going to do projects again for 2025? So
please, GSOC.beagleboard.org or beagleboard.org/GSOC, however you get there, right? That gets you to the homepage for GSOC with BeagleBoard. There's a weekly meetup, right? So if you have any questions, you show up on Thursdays on the Discord, and we'll do Q&A. We're looking for project ideas. We're looking for potential mentors, and we're looking for potential students, right? So all of the above right now. So if you don't know how to get started, go to gsoc.beagleboard.org. And if it doesn't tell you how to get started, then read enough of it to find out how to change it, and submit some changes, submit some issues that say, well, I don't know about how to, I got lost here, I got stuck there, right? It should give you a pretty straightforward guide. Somebody else talk. It should give you a pretty straightforward guide to how to get involved in GSOC, either as a mentor or as a student. Depending on whatever level of time you have to commit, right? So, we try to make sure that there's heavily engaged mentors with students, but also if you have a limited amount of time, but just still show up, answer questions, right? We're going to give you a place and a time where you can interact with the students. You can also always just do it straight over the forums, right? We try to keep the primary interaction on the forum. It keeps it public, unlike Discord, and it keeps it Google searchable and all the fun stuff that comes from that. So,
and there's been a lot of great work done around Gray Bus that we can continue, micro clickboards, Quick, things like that. So
yeah, Ayush was a GSOC student with this, working on the Gray Bus code, and he's now he's the guy that wrote the BB Imager in Rust, rewrote BB Imager in Rust. He's like he stayed on with Beagle following that internship, right? So I think he's a great success story, and what like kind of learning through that open source development process through the GSOC mentorship, and then like he's a big believer in upstream, right? And you can see that the way he's been doing all his Linux kernel patches, right, for Graybus, right? He's directly been engaging with that. He's been heavily involved in the discussions around dynamic device tree overlays in the upstream kernel, right? So he's jumping in straight into the thick of some of the bigger questions in embedded Linux and embedded open source software development today, coming in as a Beagle GSOC student.
And it's kind of crazy the impact actually that will have long term, right, for dynamic device trees, for example.
Absolutely, and the
really
Graybus stuff, right? I mean, we're still we still haven't gotten all the Graybus stuff like fully upstreamed, right? But once we do, I think the potential for it is massive. And Deepak Khatri has been spending a little bit of time with them SPM zeros, right? And looking what we can do with the Graybus code, right? So like this is a low cost, really low cost board. I don't know that I dare to say how low cost, really low cost. But the nice thing is like you can just plug in, pull one off of a Beagle Play here, plug in any of the microbus clipboards into this, and you have just connect it up over the quick cables to your Linux host controller, and and you'll get whatever you need, the SPI, the I2C, the UARTs, whatever you need in order to go and talk to the microbus out on board, be it like one of the 1700 clicks or something else that you might make, right? And so that's going to be using that Graybus code to try to expose those interfaces over a single 4-wire connection, power, ground, and bidirectional data. So like that's we're just getting started with what can be done, what the potential of the Graybus stuff, right?
And prediction for next year, we're going to see a lot more support for clipboards right out of box, and just working with the drivers for both Zephyr, Linux, RTOS. Yeah. Trying to demystify that a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's just not a place where people should be having to spend a lot of time writing code, right? So, right, it should just work, and that's the experience we're going for here.
And based on our call last week, we're probably going to have by the end of the year some more documentation, because that was one big focus this year, right? With Deepak. Deepak's worked really hard on documentation, and we just had that call recording for a device tree tutorial guide and SPI, which I think a lot of people have been asking for.
That one's going to pay off a lot too, for sure. Telling people where to get started with building device trees itself is it can be worth a lot of lift. A lot of people really don't know where to start.
So we'll see how it comes, but either early January or hopefully by Christmas, I'd like to help you with that, so we get that up for the community. That's going to be great. And I keep teasing this. Do we want to talk about this?
Oh,
speaking of things that were like end of the year and early next year.
Yeah, this might even make it before New Year's. Who knows? There's
what could it be?
What could it be? It might be a Pocket Beagle 2.
This one. Gonna focus.
You got the.
There we go.
Yeah.
Look at that. What a beauty. Ooh, and it's thin. Look at that. First time I see it. So you want to kind of walk through it, what it's got, like large?
Sure. I mean, this is AM62, right? So it's the same and a core processor that's in Beagle Play. This is a dual core variant. And I don't know if we can give away memory sizes and whatnot, but it's half a gigabyte, right? So the idea is to be a successor to the original Pocket Beagle, which we can't produce at the same price today because of the costs of the SIP. And this should be in the same price as as the original Pocket Beagle, right? So, but with tremendously higher performance, right? 333 megahertz PRUs, dual. We've got every PRU pin brought out, so you can fully utilize the IOs of both of the PRUs.
You still have the M4 core.
We still have the M4 core. There's a lot of header compatibility, right? UARTs where UARTs were, SPI where SPI was. There's what other things really stand out? We had to change the USB connector because
Type C, come on. Type C,
yeah,
all the
Type
way.
C. Because Type C
It's
rules.
the future.
It's now. And so we had to switch the USB connector. We also populated the headers. Some first folks feedback was, well, it doesn't. So you give it a good push and it latches on pretty nicely. I don't know how much you've played with it, connecting it into the Grove Kit and some of the others like the Tech Lab and the.
Yeah, it sticks pretty good.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of force to pull it out. So
it's low profile enough that it really doesn't hurt anything, right? Actually, here.
Right.
Haha. Good. So, OG, new one should probably solve them based on this.
Yeah, the micro SD card connection did go down beneath. We've got it sitting, relatively flat underneath there. And there's a debug connector now, so that it's separate from the headers. You can use the debug probe to work with the console directly.
Yeah, so that's still the Pi debug probe connector, same as BeagleY.
Yeah. I don't know if I should mention things we specifically missed. It would have been nice to have the quick on here for the connecting to Zepto, but
there's only so much space.
It's okay. You still have all your headers, right? And you still have one of the USB ports pinned out to the header as well, so you could get a second USB port out. And it is nice and thin. So, I know it's single-sided now. It's not, through hole like it used to be for the headers, but honestly, I don't think that's a big deal. And it's still really flexible, right? So you just populate your low profile or full size headers on your carrier board and you're fine. They're still compatible. You can see I have the backlight kit here and it'll just kind of fit. Right. So
yep. Yeah, I thought it was more important to work with the pin headers than it was to be able to be soldered down, right? So that simpler initial experience, right, really drove the decision on the headers. What's that, Andrew?
Oh, just going to ask, someone who's not been following this project, first thing comes to my mind is, first of all, yay for USB-C and networking. Any what's the connectivity options on that?
So USB-C, we can do the single device modes gadget Ethernet, USB? And then you have USB. So you can do USB Wi-Fi, USB Ethernet, anything like that.
It's really the
USB
connection on the board.
Okay. The Play has some of the industrial networking.
Actually, I haven't looked at it, but you could probably do RGMII depending on the pinout works out. And since all the
PRUs are pinned out, right, there's a lot of, you can do the industrial networking over there with the firmware.
Not on 6.2, I don't believe.
Do we not do that?
That's ICSS-M.
On 6.2? Yeah, we still do that.
We do?
6.2.3.
I don't.
That's my get then.
Yeah, I don't know that you do that on this one, but because most of the real time is now merged into the Ethernet controller, right? So if you look at the TSN, right, that's on the RGMII, but not instead of the.
It's a mix of the two. So you can do CP switch or PRU now. The thing with the CP switch is it's a master stack only, but PRU is both.
And if you want something to get all of it in a solder down, right? There's this guy.
There's
right?
the other guy. Yeah, so that's BeagleMod.
The AM62 BeagleMod, right? So this is the replacement for the solder down version, right? So if you were going to solder down a pocket beagle in order to get your thing, like this is the new replacement for that, is a solder down processor module. And there you can get, all the Ethernet out, right? All the everything out, right? Just the memory bus connections, right? So there's onboard flash and onboard DDR, right?
And what's fun about that carrier board specifically is you still have the same device tree as Beagle Play. It'll boot just fine, but then you can add the second Ethernet and just the changes for the added features. But do you want to talk about the form factor of the actual module? Because I think the footprint itself is the really interesting part, right? Because there's
it's an open
possibilities
spec
in the future.
module. Yeah, it's an open spec module, right? So it should provide a lot of compatibility with other processors in that same form factor. It's an OSM-M, right? So you saw there's on this particular carrier board, there was also space for an OSM-L. Right, but depending on what carrier board you choose, right? But the 6.2 module from Beagle. So this is our second module, right? The first one is the Wi-Fi module, the 3301.
Which I don't think you've talked about separately. Yeah, so you might want to mention that too.
Yeah. So if you want to buy the module, right, we make the design available for the module, as well as the modules available. So the for the CC3301.
And that is the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip that is available on BeagleY.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So if you want, the evaluation board is BeagleY AI, and then if you want to buy the modules themselves, they should be showing up at distributors soon. So.
And that's a low-cost Wi-Fi 6 solution, 2.4 gig.
2.4 gigahertz 802.11ax, right? So,
and an M.2 solder down.
There is the 1213, which I think is an M.2. There's also 13 by 13, which is the one we use on the BeagleY AI. Instead of the 12 by 16, it's a 13 by 13. So the 12 by 16 is one it's listed M.2, but don't get it confused with one of the edge connectors. It's a solder down with the UFL.
Not this M.2.
Yeah. I've got some of those boards. I don't know. I don't want to try to dig through my boards to try to show you what it looks like, but the 13 by 13 is in a footprint compatible with the Y-Link 8. So if you use the WL 1835 or 1837 or 1807, 1805, anything in that product line before, you should be able to drop in and replace it with the Beagle 33X, right? 3300 or 3301. Hopefully soon to be 3351 when the 5 gigahertz gets added, right? So we don't yet have the 5 gigahertz module, but right, that should be, I think that's coming soon. The 5 and I think there's a 6 on the roadmap as well.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be tri-band ultimately, yeah.
Yeah. Just need to add sub gigahertz now, and it'll be golden.
That's the 2-chip solution. We're getting there. So I actually have a Beagle Play where I'm looking at modding it to enable the thread and matter functionality, just with the sub gig as well. So you can connect the CC13 to the BM33.
Yeah, and I would, we didn't have it in time for the Beagle Play launch, right? But as the future versions of that chipset show up, right, I would expect us to migrate Beagle Play on over there. Have everything
For
on
sure.
a board.
But yeah, so Pocket Beagle 2, end of the year, early next year, it's coming. Get it. I wish it was, ready for stocking stuffers for everyone, but right now, I get to play with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then we have
I don't know the official date, but I think they should start arriving before the end of the year, right? So I'm hoping that distributors have something listed so you can at least maybe print out on Christmas Day that you've got one on the way.
Yeah.
Robert,
And
you haven't heard the shipping dates, have you?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And the SD card tucks in neatly there, just neatly. I can speak.
And it holds it pretty good. You gotta have
Oh, it
good
does, yeah.
fingers. You have to have good fingers to pull it out.
Okay. Oop, I did it. So I'm very excited for this, actually. I'm trying to think of places to put it in now. I think a lot of robotics applications that I can think of that's going to be fun to play with. We still talked about doing a possible Beagle around the globe boat race or autonomous boat.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That would be a good one for it.
2 of these redundant? I don't know. I haven't talked to my friends at NASA recently, so but rover.
These
Yeah,
aren't the
that-
radiation hardened parts. Sorry, no Mars
it's fine.
rovers.
It's just redundancies. I like if BeagleBone Black has been used in satellite
Space.
networks, I think that Pocket Beagle 2 would work pretty well.
I might misquote on this one, but I think what NASA does, even on the ISS, is they just keep shipping more and more laptops because they just assume they'll die within a certain amount of time. So it's just, they just accept the failure rate.
It's probably a lot cheaper than radiation hardening.
Yeah.
The Beagle 5 Fire, bring it up again, but that one seems to be used in a lot of aerospace projects right now, right? So that seems to be one of its focal points.
Yeah, the big thing we're working on that is transitioning to the 6.6 kernel. And yeah, the biggest thing was Ubuntu pulled Lunar.
There's a rumor that the Beagle 5 Fire was used for testing, at least, on a future generation ARM thing from a US neighbor space agency. Maybe.
ARM thing? Like not advanced
Like-
or Acorn RISC machines? Ah, okay.
No.
ARM thing.
Like actual ARM.
Well, there is an ARM on it,
Yeah.
There is one ARM core on that little device.
They snuck it in. But that's all rumors.
That sounds like a good rumor.
Yeah, some takeaway from open source, because that was another thing that happened. We went to open source. That was really great. A lot of conferences, Embedded World North America. So that's probably going to be in the upcoming mailing list, right? But we had the Beagle Stash demo. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much for that enclosure. That was an awesome demo. I love bringing back Beagle Stash, and just that the nice little using the DSI display kind of made things easy-ish, right? It was a really cool enclosure you made. Thank you very much for that.
Anytime you just need an enclosure for your fun demo, so don't give me credit for it, but it'd be fun next year to make that simpler for people to print, and especially as Edge AI comes online more and more, we can actually do fun things with it. So I think it's going to be a good year for BeagleY.
Absolutely. I think we're inundated with them, like just so many projects going. It's kind of there's nowhere to start and stop at any place, right? So much more going on with Connect Freedom, right? People building little autonomous car projects out of it, like doing more instructional car materials. The microblocks progress on Beagle Connect Freedom has been great, right? So getting the big thing I think is to be worked out is the Bluetooth stuff, right? So that we can control from the phone, and that's the big one. But using Beagle Play as a host right now and talking to these guys remotely, and Deepak did a backpack for it.
And the backpack's really nice too.
Got the battery in there, the buttons, some LEDs. Right, and it's all programmable through microblocks, right? So that stuff is, and it's microblocks on Zephyr, right? It's microblocks on Arduino on Zephyr.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
So, yeah, it's nice to see Arduino joining us in the Zephyr folds. It's really a great focus for Beagle to be moving Zephyr forward.
I'm excited to see where that goes. I think there's finally interest from, both TI and every other major silicon vendor to actually step in now. So from everything I can see, at least it looks like Zephyr has a bright future. I was one of the skeptics, I'll be honest. That was because I saw, Nordic pushing for it, and I thought, well, it's great. I see people are excited about it, but I'm not seeing like actual, pull from industry or anybody actually documenting it very well. But, call me wrong, because this past quarter at least, like we've seen a lot of new stuff. So it's exciting.
Awesome.
I do have to say, I'm actively bullied every time I go to Costco, so I try to avoid it now because they have little Tesla Roadster, and every time I see one, I think of Beagle Connect Freedom, and I'm like, I've resisted though. Beagle car revival.
Yeah, it needs to come back, but it needs to be Beagle Y.
Yeah.
I think there's really no reason not to get that kicked off, right? With Beagle Y, do it a little bit. It just kind of grew in its scope and complexity. It needs to be a little bit a little more focused. I think a little more scalable, a little more low cost, right? And push the Beagle car across the finish line.
Yeah, I think that's what I think you look forward to in 2025. That, some Ross.
Well, especially since it's so easy to get a chassis. That was always the biggest problem with the Beagle car. But
yeah, now you have almost too many choices.
You mean not enough?
Yeah. There's that certain company we talked to that does have a robot dog included. So we just need a good paint job for it. Animatronic Boris isn't real. Meanwhile, animatronic Boris. So yeah, what else do you guys want to cover?
I don't know. If I was going to ask people that are watching, like, one thing to like get involved with Beagle in the next year, it would be GSOC, right? That I appreciated you bringing it up, because that's really the kind of the best place. And there's a lot of opportunity for projects that doing them jointly with Beagle starting now, right? There's not a big reason to wait. You're getting on the Discord, picking up a Beagle Y AI and starting projects now that can accelerate through GSOC, and there really shouldn't be too much of a limit to the ambition, because the documentation details, even though they might not always be the easiest to find, they're there. And we can if you show up on the Discord, we're going to work with you and help you get it put into the right place to kind of pave the way for others. And right,
don't feel like you need to wait for GSOC itself. We're always willing to work on fun projects, and we're all easily distracted to work on fun things. So, depending on the pitch, you might find you get more support than you expect.
That's 100% the truth.
Just a
So
little.
Because I know I've thought, I'm like, there goes my day when someone messaged me. So,
easy for me to spin off on that again. But show up, think GSOC, think like what sort of things you can do that you want, a student helping you out on over the summer, or that you want to be a student helping out on, like things that are going to like pave the way for others, and just sound fun to participate in. And show up on our Discord and let's get started. And don't worry about the depth and complexity, right? Because there's enough information there, right? If we're going to do C7000, or GPU, there's so much work going on in upstream GPU support and open source drivers, right? There's GPU sort of opportunities, hosting those firmware images and other operating systems, right? It's not the lack of information, right? That's
just a lack of time.
It's just a lack of time. Yeah, 100%.
You can do almost anything you want to do. Yeah,
I know.
I started going through a little bit of the documentation that that Imagination has put out on those firmware images, and I was just blown away how much is there, right? Right. You just need some time and focus, and we can coalesce a project together with some students and make some amazing things happen.
Well, and I guess with that being said, just thank you for everyone in the community who's been bearing through with us on everything. We've had a lot of exciting launches. We had some rough bits here and there, then people have put up through and helped, and a lot of people have stepped in to contribute. We're grateful for that. And we're going to keep the excitement going, keep releasing cool products, keep updating the ones we already have, adding new features. Again, Robert, Jason, Andrew, Nishant, everyone else, thank you guys so much for all the help. It's been a lot of fun working with you. So hopefully we just keep growing. We keep doing all the fun stuff we do. It's been exciting. More conferences, more boards. Buy a Pocket Beagle tune that comes out. And we'll keep the combo going. Get more friends in. Get more projects. Sky's the limit. So happy holidays, everyone. And I guess, Jason, I'll let you take it away.
Oh, happy holidays. I think you did a great job, Andre. See ya.